everyone, it's Lisa. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make 2 cards using the 3D pop-up drop-in die set from the Stamps of Life. So we're going to make one using the die the way it comes, and I'm going to make another one using incorporating some other stamps, as you see here, the rainbow stamp from the Stamps of Life. So here's card 1. I'm going to be making a card using this 3D pop-up drop-in by the Stamps of Life. It's one of their new drop-in dies. And with this, I'm going to be using the Hooray Collection paper pad from the Stamps of Life, as well as the Ocean and the Candy cardstock from the Stamps of Life. So let's just take a look at what's inside of this. You have this large piece, which is with the inside, there's 3 panels, and the inside is where you place your drop-in die. And it comes with this particular drop-in, and when you're putting it through your die cut machine, you just lay it right in here. Any of the Stamps of Life of the background dies will fit inside of here. And then these pieces are just for the happy birthday, and then the balloons that you can layer on once you're finished. So you can see the happy and the birthday and the balloons, and then this is what the drop-in piece looks like. So we'll go ahead and make a card with this, and I'm going to start out using this candy cardstock to make an A2 size card base. So I'm going to be using this particular die from the Stamps of Life to make the card base. So once that die comes out of the die cut machine, it does make the A2 size card base with the score line. So all I have to do is fold it, take my bone folder, and then just press that down, and there's my A2 size card base. For the inside part that makes this pop-up portion of the card, I am going to be using the Ocean cardstock, and I'm simply going to take this die, lay it face down, and then put the drop-in right in the middle and run it through my die cut machine just like this. So here's what it looks like when it comes out of the die cut machine. Actually, you will have to poke some of these holes out, and I do suggest running your die through the die cut machine more than once if you can, so you don't have to poke as much of these holes out, but make sure that they're all out. And then this is going to be the layering piece inside of your card, and it's going to layer just like that. So we're going to put adhesive on these back panels. So I used double-sided adhesive, and I made it in a rectangular shape around both of those panels. Before you peel that up, make sure that you just fold on those score lines to get a good score before you adhere that to your card. Remember that die, it does put these score lines in for you. Now I'll peel the adhesive back, and I will apply it to my card. I peeled one side back, placed it where I want it to go, and now I'm going to press that down. Now I'm going to peel the other side back and adhere that to the inside. Okay, and now when you fold your card, this will automatically give a fold. And if you want to just run your bone folder over that to make sure it's a nice even fold, you can. And there's the inside of the card. Next, I'm going to use a piece of the pattern paper, and I'm going to cut a rectangle that measures just a little bit smaller than this rectangle, which is going to be 2 inches and 5 1/8 inches. And I'm going to cut 2 of those so that they can fit on the inside of these inside rectangles. Unfortunately, the die cut piece that has these rectangles, if you try to die cut one of those out, it will be too large to fit. So you'll have to actually, just using your paper trimmer, just cut that down. Again, it's 2 inches by 5 1/8. So here's my pieces. They're not adhered yet, but I just wanted to place them to make sure they're sized okay. And then I'm going to take my Tombow mono liquid glue. And the reason I'm using the glue instead of the double-sided tape is because this will give me time to just position it if I need to, because the double-sided tape, once you have it down, you can't take it up if you need to reposition it. Next, I'm going to die cut the happy birthday, and the shadow layer is going to be in the ocean color, and then the happy birthday is going to be in the white. And on the happy birthday, I went ahead and put double-sided adhesive on the back. That way when it comes out of the die cut machine, I don't have to put adhesive on each one of those individual letters, and it'll be easy to stick right on the shadow layer. So I'm going to run these two through the die cut machine. Now I'm just going to take up the words, and I'm going to peel back the double-sided adhesive. And adhere that directly on the shadow layer. Now I'm going to leave these off to the side because I haven't decided if I'm going to put them on the inside or if I'm going to put them on the front. But I know for certain that on the front, I want to put the same background die on this front part of the card. So I'm going to take a piece of the ocean cardstock. I'm going to take that background die that was in the set, and I'm going to put it face down. Now I am going to need another rectangular die in order to cut this out of the paper. If I just put it through the die cut machine like this, it's going to cut it into the paper. And since I want to cut it out and then put it on top of this card. So I have this rectangular die. This die actually came with another background die that I have from the Stamps of Life, which is the medium dotted background. These two came together in a pack. So this actually fits nicely around this die, so I'm going to use it. So here is the background, and I'm just going to apply adhesive glue to this layer. And you could have, if you wanted to save time, is you could have applied the double-sided adhesive on the back of the paper. So here's what the front looks like once it's glued down. Now I'm going to use some cupcake dies, and these are the triplets, 659927 by Stephanie Bernard. And with these cupcake dies, there are 9 different dies in the package, and they have all different options for what kind of cupcake you want to make. And notice that at the bottom it will show you, like if you want to make this particular cupcake, you're going to use die 1, 4, and 9, and it shows what those dies look like. So their different combinations are listed down at the bottom. So I'm going to make at least one of these. I think I'm going to start out making this particular cupcake. So I need dies 1, 3, and 6. So 1, 3, and 6. So I'm going to take some of the pattern paper in the same paper pad. Here's the bottom of the cupcake. I'm going to cut that out of this pattern paper. And I'm also going to incorporate some purple for the background of the cake, as well as using the same candy cardstock for the frosting. Now for this, I'm going to just put some double-sided adhesive directly on the back of that. Just so that when it comes out of the die cut machine, I can just easily layer that on. So I'm just going to take some of this double-sided adhesive and line this up. And then I'm gonna die cut that frosting right out of the. So here's the pieces that came out of the die cut machine. I'm gonna peel this up because this has the adhesive on the back. And I'm going to stick this directly onto the purple. Okay, and that will layer just like that. But when I adhere it, I'm gonna put some foam adhesive on the back, so I'm not gonna adhere it right this second. I'm gonna wait till I put it on the card. Now, for the front of the card, I'm going to use a scalloped circle die, which looks like this, and some of the powdered sugar cardstock. And I ran that through the die cut and I made a circle. And this is gonna go on the front of the card. But before I do that, I'm just going to add some ink. This is the Candy Stamps of Life ink. And I'm just going to apply some of this to the sides of this scallop. Just add a little bit of hint of color. And I'm going to add that to the front just like that. And now I'm going to add the cupcake to the top of this. And then this is going to get some foam so that it has a little bit of dimension on the front. Now I'm going to take this banner die from the Stamps of Life, cut it out of the powdered sugar cardstock. I'm going to just put the ink on the edges on this banner, just like I did with the scallop. And then I'm going to stamp with one of the matching stamp sets. I'm going to do the You Take the Cake. And I'm going to stamp that right onto the scallop. I'm going to use the Pixie ink from Stamps of Life and just ink that up. Added the double-sided double-sided adhesive foam because I wanted to pop that up. And I'm going to add this right here to the bottom. Now for the inside, I'm going to add the happy birthday. And I'm adding it to just the left side because I want to leave room on this side to write my message. Next, I'm going to take this balloon die cut and I'm going to cut it out of the powdered sugar cardstock. And then I'm going to use some of these balloon die cuts and add some color to those balloons using the different color cardstock. So here's the die cut balloons. Now I'm going to take 3 different color pieces of cardstock and I'm going to take some of these individual balloons and not the shadow layers, but just the top piece of these balloons. And I'm going to die cut from the colored cardstock, just like this. So I'm going to take the rest and just die cut these out, and then once they come out, I'll be able to adhere them to the balloons to add color. So I cut the balloons out, and now I'm going to layer them on, and applying glue makes it so much easier because you can insert them underneath each other and they're not completely dry. To the right. That way I have room here. I'll just have to squeeze my handwritten message in. I love these colors. They're so beautiful. And there is my card. So I thought this was such a simple, easy card to make. Again, using the 3D Popup Drop-in by the Stamps of Life. I did add some other die cuts, as you can see, using the cupcake and then the banner, but everything else was from this drop-in. And again, the colors were the candy cardstock, the ocean, and then I used some purple, the powdered sugar. This was from the Hooray collection, and all the colors go together so beautifully. So I was really pleased with this card. I'm going to make another card using this 3D Pop-in Drop-in. And this time, instead of using the drop-in that comes with the kit, I'm going to use a different type of drop-in. And I'm going to use the lemonade paper from the Stamps of Life. I'm going to take my die that came in the kit, and instead of using the background die like I did on the other card to drop in, I am going to use a scalloped rectangle. And this is a Stamps of Life die, and it fits perfectly within it. And this is how I'm going to run it through the die cut machine. When you're using these rectangular dies, if you wanted to put some washi on here just to hold it in place, because you want to make sure that this die does not turn to the side, otherwise it will, the cut will not be even. So you want to make sure that the yellow part around the outside is even and that the die is straight. So if you need to use washi tape before you run it through, you should do so. And here's what it looks like when it comes out of the machine. Here's the scalloped rectangle portion. Save this for another project because you don't want to waste this perfectly nice scallop. And then this is what I end up with. So I am going to take my bone folder and I am going to score at these score lines, because remember, the die automatically puts those score lines in for you. So just score that down, press that down. And here's what we end up with. So now I'm going to add this yellow piece to my A2 size card base. And this A2 size card base was cut with the sky paper from the Stamps of Life. So I just applied double-sided adhesive to the back side of the panels. And again, you want to make sure that this is layered evenly. on both sides. I just took the double-sided tape off of one of the panels. I'll press that down and then I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing. Now this middle part, I need to add a score mark. Now I could technically go like this and make it myself, but I really would rather just add a score line where the score line is in this blue card, in the base card, because then I know that it's gonna be perfect for when I fold it. And there it is. Next, I want to add some rectangular pattern paper to the panels on the outside of this insert. And I'm going to use the Oh Joy collection, and the butterfly paper is what I'm going to use for both sides. And I'm going to cut this 2 inches by 5 1/8 inch, and that's going to give me, I'm going to do it twice for the 2 panels on the side. I'm going to apply glue to these panels and adhere them. Next, I'm going to use this rainbow stamp. This is the Rainbow to Stamp set that I used from the Stamps of Life, and I just stamped it on to the Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock for alcohol markers, and I colored it with my Copic markers. I also added a touch of glitter using the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens. So I don't know if you can see the glitter on there, but it added a touch all over the whole card. And then I die cut it out using the matching die from the Stamps of Life. So just die cut it using the matching die. And I'm gonna use this for the center of the card. So I'm gonna take my scoring board and I want to score a line down the center. So there's a couple spots where I need to score, and starting out right down the center. So I'm just gonna kind of guess where the center is, just, you know, visually put a nice score mark in there. And then I want to score right here where the edge of this red rainbow part meets the cloud. I'm going to score a line right down there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let me zoom this in a little bit more so you can see. So again, right there at the edge where the red meets the cloud, I'm gonna put a score line. So there's 3 score lines. There's one approximately middle, one on the right edge, and one on the left edge. And then I'm just gonna fold that in. Same with the other side. And then fold this down the middle. So next I'm going to add some tape to the back side of the cloud. This is the double-sided tape. I'm using 1/4 inch, but I know I'm gonna need to put some more in there because it's not quite covering the edge. So I'm going to trim off the excess. And then I just had to cut down a piece. And just press that down really well, peel that up. And then I'm going to put this approximately center. And that score line on the cloud is actually going to follow the score line on the card. You're going to do it on both sides. So I'm just going to close it, push it down, make sure that it sticks. So the reason why I had to add these score lines to the cloud and I just couldn't stick it onto the yellow itself is because if I just stuck the whole cloud onto the yellow, when I closed it, the rainbow would be sticking outside of the card and that wouldn't look right. So in order to push it in more, that's why I had to create those score lines. Just to add a little bit more security to this rainbow, I'm going to just look, if you see on the inside, you'll see it's not attached to the yellow. So I'm just gonna take some of my glue and I'm gonna put some glue on the inside of that, just again to add a little bit more stick so I can be sure that it's not gonna fall apart. And I'm gonna do the same to the other side. I'm just gonna add some glue in there and then close it up. For the front of the card, I'm going to use a larger scalloped rectangle, cutting out a piece of the lemonade cardstock, and then the smaller scalloped rectangle and cutting a piece of a butterfly pattern paper. This pattern paper, these butterflies are actually a little bit larger than the ones used on the inside of the card. And I'm going to layer these directly on top of each other just like this. And then I applied the double-sided tape onto the back of the lemonade cardstock, and I'm going to adhere this directly to the front of the card. Next, I'm going to use the happy sentiment from the Stamps of Life, and I'm going to use the candy cardstock and the powdered sugar cardstock. I'm going to cut the shadow layer out of the candy, and I'm going to cut the word happy out of the powdered sugar. And now I did apply double-sided adhesive to the back of these. That way, once they come out of the die cut machine, I can easily just peel out, take out the letters, and then just stick it on without having to worry about putting adhesive on the back. So now I just take the die cut out of the die. Now remember, they're sticky on the back of this. And I'm just gonna, well, let me start by just peeling all the adhesive back. And then taking out what doesn't belong. And then just adhering it to the shadow layer. I used the butterfly to stamp set from the Stamps of Life, and I stamped out and colored some of these butterflies using my Copic markers, and I'm gonna put them on the card. I'm gonna start with this large one, and I put some foam adhesive on the back of this just so that it pops up on the card. And I'll start by adding this one. I'm gonna put it on the front with this happy sentiment. So I'm gonna place that there. And then I will put the word happy. And in this happy sentiment came these stamps. So you can use the happy sentiment with any of these. I'm so happy, or happy for you, happy to call you my friend, and there's so many others on here. And I'm just going to use the birthday stamp, and I'm going to use the candy color box ink from the Stamps of Life, and I'm going to stamp out the word birthday right here at the bottom of the card. I'm going to take this die set, it's a triplets, 660134, and I'm going to use the sun in this die set to add a sun to the inside of the card. So these are the two dies that I'm going to use, and I've already cut them out of the cardstock that I want to use. So I've did the banana out of this larger die, and I did the lemonade out of the smaller die. And these just layer on just like this. So I'm going to adhere those together and then adhere them to the inside of the card. So I'm adding some foam adhesive to the back of this, and I am going to peel this up and just put it on the inside of the card, and this way it just adds a little bit of dimension. And then the rest of these butterflies that I had, these small miniature butterflies, I'm going to add those to the inside layer of the card as well. So two of these I'm gonna set aside. The ones that have the blue on them, I don't want to adhere those straight to the blue background. I'm gonna save those for the front panel. But these three I'm gonna go ahead and adhere to the inside. So I went ahead and put some double-sided adhesive on the backs of these. And I'm simply just going to place these inside of that panel. So I'll add one to the top. And I'll add another one down below. Next, I'm going to take the stamp Wishing You Rainbows and Sunshine, and I'm using the candy color box ink from the Stamps of Life, and I'm going to stamp onto some cardstock. And then I'm going to take this scalloped rectangle and I'm going to die cut that out. So I went ahead and die cut that out, and now I'm just going to snip the sides. And after snipping the sides, I'm just going to insert it right on the side with some double-sided tape. Now I'm going to finish adding these little butterflies to the inside of the card. And I have my last one. So here's the finished card. It says Happy Birthday, the beautiful butterfly on the front. And when you open it up, it says Wishing You Rainbows and Sunshine. And it has the butterflies on the inside. There's here the sun, and then the beautiful rainbow on the middle. So if you have any comments, please leave them below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button, as well as follow me on Instagram at Lisa Mears Card Designs, and I will add all the links to the products down below. If you have any questions, please add those below as well. Have a great day.